On May 23, I made this video or I shared this video on this channel. The title of the video is I think I want to resign from my 1 million plus per month job. That was like my full-time job. And I made a video I think about 10 days before then, but I shared the video on this May 23. On May 26, I got laid off from my from that same job. Yes, I got laid off from that same job. And I cried. Maybe I'll put a clip around this video where I was crying. And the reason why I cried wasn't because of the job I lost. Well, it was because of the job, but the reason why I cried was not because of the money. It wasn't because now I was going to lose a job of 1 million plus and all of that. For me, it wasn't really about the money. It was about the memories, thinking about it. It was about, in fact, for me to make this video, if you actually watch the video I did, you realize that it felt like I had resolved in my mind that I was going to resign because I was already getting tired, and the job was amazing. Don't get me wrong. I had like a good time. I learned a whole lot. I worked with an amazing team, which was like one of the reasons why I cried, by the way. If not, that's like the only reason, the main reason why I cried. The fact that I was going to miss the routine. I was going to miss working with an amazing team. Really an amazing team. Don't worry, I'm not crying. I'm past that. The only and last day I cried was at that particular point where I lose the job. Yeah. And I didn't think I would even cry, but I cried. You see, I got this job around this time last year, and the story around me getting the job is quite an interesting one. It was in April. The first time I was supposed to get this job was in April last year, and I was in a class when I think I applied for the job, right? I sent proposal to the job, and then I got a feedback from my boss, right? I was inside the class. I had to like leave the class because he wanted us to have like a meeting, a virtual meeting, and I told him that when we were having like the call and all of that, I did the call at the back of the class, right? I was like at the back of the classroom. This was upstairs, and I think during the meeting I told him that like I'm currently in school. I just told him that I was a student and everything. And then after school we continued talking. We were discussing, and I just made him know that I'm a student and everything. And they were willing to work with my routine, right? They were willing to work with the fact that I was a student. To them that can I start working around 7 p.m. in the evening, but eventually it just couldn't work, right? It just the routine wasn't just so okay. They were willing to work if I was going to start working from 5 p.m., but I couldn't because I was in 200 level. I think this was in 200 level second semester, and because of the kind of courses I was doing then, I could not really like the earliest or some courses might extend to like that 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. And so it just ended there. But then around this time last year, August, we're about to start SWEP, or we had started SWEP. SWEP is like student workshop experience program. We were in school, 200 level students, engineering students in my school. We do this, right? After 200 level, you are not going home. The whole 3 month break, you are going to spend it in school doing SWEP, student work experience program. And so I was doing it like that was what we were doing at this time. So the I messaged the man again, the boss, that I sent a message to him that I am available now. School session had ended and I was free for the job if there's still space for me. And he accepted. Oh, thank God he accepted. I was surprised. At the same time, I was very happy. I was very glad, and I got the job. The job was paying me when I started, it was paying me like $500, and like that's the highest I had ever earned from a single job. All through I've been designing for like 4 years before then. I've been designing since like February 2021, and last year I was on a 1 year break, so I was broke. I wasn't even working. I wasn't really working because I was on a 1 year break off all of my platforms, and so I wasn't really getting clients. I mean, I was getting clients from Upwork, but then I wasn't like getting clients from social media and all of that. So I got this job, $500 per month, which was crazy to me. But then we started working, and this is an amazing thing. But my routine had to change because again I had to like discuss with them that I'm currently doing SWEP in school, and SWEP you have to resume by 9 a.m. You have to resume to your units, right? I have some videos about SWEP on this channel. Like if you go to that time, you will see those videos. Just about like a year ago, about August 2025, August, September, around that period. So I got the job, and then my routine had to shift because I have to go for sweat from 9 a.m. to like about 3 p.m. sometimes, to like sometimes around 5 p.m., sometimes around 4 p.m. It wasn't usually late. It was usually around, sometimes some units will finish around 12, some finish around 1, some finish around 2 or 3 or 4, right? So immediately I'm done, immediately I resume my job, right? So I could work, like I could do SWEP in school from like 9 a.m. to like 4 p.m. for example. Now by 5 I will resume work, and then I will work to like 7 to like 12 a.m., right? Sometimes I would even be in school. If I find some clips I'll put around this video. Sometimes I will be in school to like 2 a.m. in the midnight, and it was just, the school was on vacation, so most students were at home, right? Most students were not on campus anymore, but then we were on campus. So sometimes I'll work around, so sometimes I'll just be going to my hostel around 3 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes I'll just be going around 1 a.m. in the morning, sometimes around 2 a.m. in the morning, because I was working till then. It was a lot. My routine, that just became my routine for like a very long time, right? Long time, really. Now everything continued, and the job was amazing. I learned a lot. Like I said earlier, I have really amazing thing. My boss is really amazing, really, really, really amazing. Right? I had like a very good experience working with the team. Eventually, I think after 3 months, my earnings got increased to like $700, and then I was in like close to a million naira every month. This was mind blowing because this was the first time in my life that I would be earning that much from design only every month. Every month. Oh, come on, this transformed my life. But then eventually, things just continue. Everything, school resumed back in like October, right? October, November, school resumed, like normal session resumed again. And then the routine continued again. I will go to class, then I will be done with class around 5 p.m., and then sometimes I would resume work around 7 p.m., worked like 2 a.m. And the laptop I was using then was like it was an it was an HP ZBook, I think G15 Studio G5, that was the name. So it was like a workstation laptop, and like what you might know about workstation laptops and gaming laptops, the laptops don't last for long, right? Because they work best when plugged in, right? That is when maybe their GPU is working really well. So, and in my school, there's always light, really, but then in the hostels, they are not always light. The light is always capped. By that I mean sometimes they don't bring light during the day. They only bring it from, let's say, around 7 p.m., and they will leave the light on to like 12 a.m., right? Or no, to like, yeah, sometimes like 12 a.m. No, they leave it on to like 10 p.m., right? They leave it on to like 10 p.m. So let's say maybe around for just 3 hours or like 2 hours, and that can't do much, right? Because without it being plugged in, the laptop cannot last for long. So I'll have to like go to school area, and that's why sometimes, like I said earlier, I'll be in school area to like 2 a.m., sometimes like 3 a.m., because there's always light in school area, and so I would work till then. It was a lot, but it was worth it, right? For me, it was worth it. I have to like deliver and all of that, right? So it just kept going. My routine when school returned back to session, I kept walking that way. I kept walking that way. Then earlier this year, I think it was in February, I got my MacBook. Right, thank God, my MacBook saved my life really, because then it had like I think 8 hours. 8 hours. It can last for about 8 hours without being plugged in. So I didn't have to like still late into the night. And but then now remember that I built an entire routine out of the because of the job. Like my life, my routine had shifted. I was like working from evening to midnight most times and all of that. Then I got a MacBook in February. The work continued. Then March, work continued. But then towards this point, I was like, there were like new structures in the team, in the company. It's a remote work, by the way. I mean, by now you should be able to get that already, right? So there were new structures. Now you have to clock in just to make the work more, just to make the company more productive, which I totally understand. You have to clock in, and gradually I just started feeling like there was friction between my schedule and the company, right? Now, again, this is an amazing company. Even though they laid me off, I still understood that it was an amazing. I still have like I don't have any issue with any team member with the company. They are really amazing people. I just feel like I was at that point where they needed to let me go, and it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't because I stopped being productive. From the meeting I had, where the clip where I was crying was the meeting I had like with like the team lead, with my team lead. It was because the company was restructuring, right? So the company was restructuring, and I would eventually learn that truly they had to like let me go, because my schedule was no longer fitting, right, for the structure, the new structure, right? It's no longer about an agency. The brand was already moving beyond just being a LinkedIn marketing agency, really, for founders. It was now like transitioning it into other things that would require longer time, would require like stricter schedule. And I work with like people from different countries, and usually my schedule was no longer okay for the rest of other team, for the team members, because sometimes I'm working in the evening, and for me maybe my evenings is like their own midnight, really. So imagine that I'm working as a graphic designer. I have a team lead, or I have like another team, maybe like the content team, that is supposed to be sleeping and all of that. So they were just frictional, which I totally understand. So we're just getting to that point where there were now new structures in the team that were making it difficult for me to combine with school. And so at some point I started slacking a bit with deadlines and all, because school also became crazy. At this point I was already like 300 level. We were doing 300 level. This was this year, right? I was in 300 level engineering. It was draining. Sometimes we do practicals till like 6 p.m. It was crazy. It was draining and all of that. And so eventually at some point, and that was why I made the video, because I was already getting to that point where I was already feeling like I would be laid off, right? Because I was still trying my best to be productive. I was still trying my best to show up. I was still like showing up in meetings and all of that, right? But I was just get to a point where I felt like I was no longer giving so much, right? So much of myself, more like I was already feeling detached and everything. And so I made that video. I don't know if any of the if the company saw the video or something, but like 3 days after I did the video, my team lead called me, and then they had to like lay me off. So I feel like it's something that they had probably already been considering, and that, but since they saw that video, they're like, I think we should just let him go. And yeah, but regardless, I had an amazing time working with the team again. Really amazing team. Really, really amazing team. amazing company, and hopefully in the nearest future, maybe after school, where engineering will no longer be my problem, where I would be able to like work in the mornings and be able to like really work full time. Maybe we would be able to work again, right? Work together. Maybe I would be able to like work again with the company. And but I had like a good experience working with the company. I had like a great experience, really. Learned so much. That was like the first company I'll be working that was really so structured. The team, the cross-functional team were really working. But yeah, thank God, we are all growing. Don't forget to subscribe right now. Subscribe.